Welcome to the video, guys. This is how you bench 500 pounds. It's like you're throwing a punch. Boom. You need to have kind of hardcore training a little bit. This is 455. Frankly, kind of a lightweight for me, but you should at least be benching at least once a week, if not twice a week. Sometimes, if I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I'm afraid to get out of the weight. To be honest with you, I don't have too bad of an arch myself. My name's Brendan Todd. I'm a coach here at PWRBLD. And today I want to talk about benching and how I've improved my bench press to my PR as of now is 530 pounds. It's done in the gym, but I bench 530. All right, so how do you bench 500 pounds? There's going to be a few big things. One, I mean, they're going to be kind of obvious here, and I don't mean to be rude or anything like that, but sometimes people miss the big picture, the big steps. They're stepping over $100 bills to pick up pennies. So one is you got to bench, like you have to actually perform the movement. Some people are going to respond very well to high frequency benching. 2, 3, 4. Some guys I've seen 6 times a week benching. That's going to really depend on you as a person, your body weight, your technique, the range of motion, all of that. But you should at least be benching at least once a week, if not twice a week. And if you're noticing a stall in progress, you might want to increase the frequency and then increase the volume. So benching is one. Sleep, nutrition, recovery, obvious. The other big thing though is actually just going to be gaining body weight, specifically muscle mass on your upper body. The squat and the deadlift, they increase, your strength in them kind of increases easier for numerous reasons. One of which is you just have more muscle mass to train, right? If you got big old legs, you got more muscle mass to teach how to be strong in the squat and the deadlifts. If you got a smaller upper body, that's less muscle mass to teach to be strong in the bench, right? So gaining some muscle mass in the upper body is going to be key. The way you can do that is just focusing on bodybuilding movements. Frankly, after you're done benching, get yoked. Get yoked. All right, let's hit this 365 for a warm-up. Time for 4 or 5. The other big thing is going to be perfecting your technique. Now, to be frank with you guys, I didn't really start worrying about my technique until really I started getting like 450 and things like that, getting closer to that numbers, getting closer to the higher numbers. But one thing with the bench press I see so many people doing wrong is that they're tucking the elbows or they're bending the bar throughout the entire range of motion. At the bottom of the bench, the most comfortable position for a lot of lifters is to have that elbow about 45 degrees away from your torso, okay? So you don't want to guillotine press it, right? Because that's going to put a lot of strain on the shoulder and the pec tendon there. At the bottom, about 45 degrees away, keep the chest up proud, shoulders down tucked. This is a very comfortable position for a lot of people, including myself. But then they try to press and they try to keep the elbows tucked the whole time. Might be hard to see here, but this is my ending position of the bench. Wrist is stacked on the elbow, is stacked on the shoulder, right? At the bottom position here, my wrist and elbow are stacked, but the shoulder is not. If I punch straight up, it's not stacked. If I punch back and then up, it's going to be ending in a stacked position. So what does that look like? So if we're looking at head on, and you're like bird's eye view of me benching, I don't want to bench like that with my elbows tucked. At the bottom, I want it tucked, but about halfway to the last third on the way up, and again, this depends on the person, you want to start internally rotating at the shoulder or elbow flare. Boom. It's like you're throwing a punch. Boom. Boom. All right? If you don't get that done and you're like trying to tuck the whole time, you're always going to be in a disadvantageous position, and it's always going to be much more difficult to increase the bench strength. Now, I'm not doing it today, but a great exercise that I have found, and I got this from my coach, Josh Bryant at Jailhouse Strong, to help train that backing up motion is doing something called the dead press. It's like a pin press, but you're only ever going to do 1 rep, and you always start at the bottom position. So this way, you're working only the up portion of the movement or the concentric portion of the movement. So what you would do is you'd have the pins or the safety set about 2 to 3 inches off your chest. So the bar is sitting 2 to 3 inches off your chest. And then when you push up, you're gonna have to push back and up. If you try to push straight up with the any good weight, it's not gonna move. You gotta push back and up. Look up dead bench press. The biggest thing is actually going to be gaining body weight, solid muscle mass. When I was in high school, I tried to do a bodybuilding show, and I got in my head that I needed to do cardio in the morning, and I needed to do like a ton of sets, a lot of volume for every part of my body. So I would go to the gym for like 3 hours, and I would sleep like 6 hours so I could wake up early to get the cardio in. Frankly, it was very dumb of me and probably the stupidest thing I've ever done with training. And the reason is I was just not recovering. So when I did the bodybuilding show, I was very flat, and I also felt like shit. You need to have kind of that hardcore training a little bit. But a lot of your recovery needs to be kind of soft and laid back. You want to kind of keep your stress low in order to properly build muscle mass. The reason for this is like, yes, this is very stressful here physically on the body. Mentally, it's not. It's called a eustress. There's a positive stress. And it helps boost your testosterone naturally, right? Too many people are sleeping like 4 to 6 hours a night. And you could make some gains. Some people are built different. Not most people. Most people need the full 8 hours of sleep. So that's gonna be huge. The reason the body weight's so important is like, I'm like 255 here right now. And my first time I hit a 2 times body weight bench, I was like 220 or 230. So that's 2 times body weight would be 440 or 460, right? When I ballooned up to 250, that's when the first time I hit my 500 bench. So ratio-wise, relative-wise, I have been getting stronger with the bench. But if you're like 130 pounds and you're benching 260, you've already hit a 2 times body weight bench. That's huge. That's a gigantic number. So if you go from 130 to 150, you'll probably be benching 300, right? If you can keep that ratio with good, proper training. This is 455. Frankly, kind of a lightweight for me. And we're using this as like a potentiation set. We're potentiating our nervous system, the muscle fibers. It's another way to warm up. A lot of power lifters talk about like, oh, it's a top set this. Top set of RP 7, top set of RP 8, 9. I'm doing a top set of RP 5. Whatever. If the focus is on the back downs, right? A lot of the volume and intensity and a lot of the gains you're going to make is on the back down sets. That's where you got to keep the form great. That's where you're actually putting in that volume and intensity that stimulates the hypertrophy and the strength gains, right? The top set, all that is there to do for sometimes, unless you're prepping for a meet, like in the off season like I am, all that's there to do is just get my body triggered and ready to go for the back downs. There we go. What do you think? We got 426 for 3 sets of 6. Started getting those butterfly feelings for the first top set, you know? I heard this interview with GSP, and he was saying that some of his fights, when he was prepping for his fights, other athletes were excited to go fight. He said he always felt like he was afraid to go fight. Sometimes, if I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I'm afraid to get out of the weight, you know? But that's the story, that's the hero's story. And you know, I know we're just lifting weights here, but it's the struggle and the strain of each rep that creates that story. And the ultimate success at the top that makes this all worth it, you know, that makes it so passionate and so important to me. All right, go for 6 easy fucking reps. Let's go. Yes! It's not done yet. There's a concept called compensatory acceleration training. Again, learned this from my coach, Josh Bryan. He took it from his coach and mentor, Fred Hatfield. Essentially, we cannot necessarily always be training at max weight, okay? The conjugate style, which who knows if it's really that great for raw lifters. There's one guy on the East Coast, Big Frank, man, he's a fucking animal. He maxes out every week, some type of squat movement, some type of bench work. Anyways, compensatory acceleration training. Basically, the idea is you're trying to move lightweight fast. It's not really speed training where we're taking like 50% and throwing some bands on there. That's not the idea. The idea is like, I can't go to max every single week, but I can put maximal intensity into every single rep I do. And it's important to do that because we're training the body to put max intensity when we go for a 1 rep max, when we go into a powerlifting meet, with whatever we're doing. Shit, if you're training to be a boxer and you want to deliver that KO punch, you gotta have maximum intensity in. So you practice with that max intensity. Same thing with the bench here, maximal intensity. Same thing with the deadlift, maximal intensity. Squat, maximal intensity. There was an argument a lot of people got pissed at me for, including some of these motherfuckers in this gym right now, that I critiqued the holy pause deadlift. And there is always and absolutely applications to pause your deadlift. But the same reason we don't pause during the concentric of the bench or during the up portion of the squat is because it inherently is against that compensatory acceleration training style, where you're trying to exert maximal effort into every rep, even when it's light, to recruit as much muscle and motor unit recruitment. It's okay that I'm not necessarily lifting without a spot. Got these guys. Face savers, safety racks, all right? If I'm in trouble, all I do is just put it down on the safety rack. That's one. Two, if you don't have it because maybe you're training at a commercial gym or something like that, try to not lift with the collars on. If you put a collar on and you need to dump the bar, the collar is going to stop the bar from dumping. When you're pressing, you should not be pressing like this. There should be no gross unevenness with the barbell. When you're pressing up, it should be pretty damn even, all right? Watch some of these Olympic weightlifters. They have their plates on, they might have the collar on, but then they have like a 2.5 kilo plate or something like that on the edge. To be honest with you, I don't really know if this is why they have it, but I would assume it's because they want to keep that bar even throughout their entire lift, snatch, clean jerk, whatever. All right? And if they get done with a set and the one plate's over here like that, and the other plate's right there, they know they'd be uneven with it. All right. Yep. Come on.
Nice.
Big PR.
Oh, that's a PR?
I think so, volume-wise.
Oh, nice.
I don't think I've hit 420 for 2 sets of 6, and then I hit 425 on the last set for 6. I want to give all my credit here, my good friend Collin Whitney, for the liftoff.
May 28th, come to the bench class. Get tips from this guy. That's 25th.
25th.
25th. I don't know.
Something you see not a lot of lifters do. Neck training. These puppies back here, they also want to get the back of your neck too. Why do I do neck training? One, I think the biggest thing aesthetically, I find it as a man, it looks very masculine. It looks very, it just looks fucking cool. You look like a gorilla. Should I not be cussing so much?
Oh, go ahead, dude.
So I think you look like a gorilla. You look manly. That's one. Two, God forbid something like a car accident happens or some type of freak thing hits you in the head, something happens like that. Just like a stronger back with deadlifts is going to prevent you from back injuries, I want to prevent neck injuries. Everything stems from your head. So you got to have a strong neck. So we're doing 3 sets of 15 with 90 pounds. What you want to do is you take a shirt or like a pad or a towel or wear a beanie, and you want to put it kind of like on your forehead so you don't have a ring mark on your head. Lean off slightly, put it in there, and let most of that weight be on the neck. Your hands are just holding. You don't need a ton of volume for your neck. You probably could, but you don't need a ton. You have a lot of, I believe they're called androgen receptors in your neck and your traps, and they respond very well to growth. So I do this 1 time a week, and I've definitely noticed some significant neck gains. So you might see some people, maybe they're hypermobile or something like that, they'll have crazy arches. And to be honest with you, I don't have too bad of an arch myself. It does 2 things. 1, it limits the range of motion, obviously. But 2, it puts the pec at a different angle. If you're pressing something, you're going to be stronger pressing down than you are going to be pressing forward or pressing up above. So the greater arch you can get, you're changing, this is the angle of your pec, no arch to arch. Now, you're going to get much more of the pec fibers involved. That's why I have a pretty decent sized cup size, right? So that's going to be 1. Now, some people, they're just not going to be as mobile. That's completely fine. But the intent should always be to try to arch. That will help improve your thoracic arch over time. And 2, it's going to help tighten and get the back tense. So your shoulders are in a better position to create more stability. More stability means more force that you can produce. You don't want to produce force from an unstable position. It's like squatting on a Bosu ball. So if I'm not keeping my shoulders down and tight, and my shoulders rise up or they're loosey-goosey while I press, 1, your body's not going to produce as much force, and 2, you're increasing your likelihood of some irritation in the shoulder. All right, let's talk about accessories. Your accessories will depend on where you're at in the program. Let's say you're preparing for a competition, or some date you're going to max out your bench press. Let's take it 12 weeks before that time. The first 4 to 6 weeks, you're going to focus on accessory movements that don't look too much like the bench press, but help train the pressing movement and the muscles involved. Build a bigger chest, deep stretch dumbbell chest press. Build strong shoulders, overhead pressing. Higher repetitions too, getting more volume in. The next 4 to 6 weeks, you're going to start to incorporate movements that look more and more like the bench the closer you get to that ultimate comp day or bench day. So you go from dumbbell chest press to, let's say, a pause close grip bench press to maybe another comp bench day. And being able to take your accessories from general to more specific over time will help transfer that size and muscle you put on in the beginning to strength with the ultimate performance. Everyone's pushing themselves during the compounds. Everyone's trying during the compounds. Not everyone's pushing themselves during the accessories. And that's where a lot of the money is made. A lot of the muscles built during the accessory. A lot of the strength is built during the accessory. And also, I like it. Like, that's the whole point. Lifting weights is this, that rep where you got that struggle in the middle and you're trying so hard and then you get the success. Every single rep, I want more reps like that. I want that feeling. Like I said, it's like the hero's journey. Every single rep, I feel that success. Why would you not want to push yourself during the accessories? And again, it's, doesn't mean you have to go to absolute failure every single time, but you should be attempting to put 110% into every rep. And then if it's an RP7, you stop 3 reps short. It's not like you're cruising through it. Oof. 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 All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you learned some tips and tricks to help you increase your bench press, maybe someday bench 500 pounds. If you're interested in working with a coach, please reach out to PWRBLD and ask for me, Tank, and I would love to work with you guys to get you to your goals faster. See you soon.